Hey folks, welcome to another market update from Charting Star. I'm Joe. It's Saturday the 15th of October. I'm going to show you the DAX, the Dow Jones, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. And there will be also some big tech companies which hit their targets last week. So I'm going to show you them as well. But we're only going to stay in the larger time frames, means daily and weekly. The smaller ones became kind of useless due to these wild swings, and who hasn't noticed that? That is now gambling 50-50. You can go into a casino if you're plotting now a 5-minute chart or so. It's not going to work out unless you have experience way over 10 or 20 years. And you can handle these markets, and I guess most of you don't. I almost have 20 years experience. I've seen moves like that, yes, but on smaller trades, I just keep my hands off. I mentioned also yesterday the DAX is kind of hard to read for me, so I keep my hands off it. I don't need that, okay? That's why I stick with my larger positions on the longer term. And just to talk about last week, I saw a lot of people calling out for a bottom. Guys, excuse me, this is not a bottom. This is a bear market rally. You saw almost like 1,800 points within 24 hours at the Dow Jones. This is not how a bottom looks like. And this is not how, if there's a bottom, it just looks different, guys. And look at the volatility. Look at the VIX, the VXN, even the VDAX. They are way too high, and they are not high enough. And there is also one thing missing, which is the final drop. That scary drop which fears everyone out. And the purpose of that rally we had starting on Thursday afternoon was just to fear off the bears and to get everyone out of the market, to confuse everyone. That's the main purpose out of it. And if you're a bottom caller in these times, I have to say sorry. Then you don't have that experience, or you haven't seen something like that before, and that means you have to learn more. You just have to learn a bit more. We're going to hop into the DAX. Is it the daily? It's actually a 4-hour time frame, but I just wanted to show you that count I have, that 1, 2, 3, 4. And as I mentioned, I keep my hands off DAX, but even we had like that triple bottom here on the daily basis, and this looks like an A, B, C. It looks more or less for me like a range as a wave 4. And as I mentioned many times before, these wave 4, they are usually there to wipe everyone out. So in other words, they do just senseless moves in both directions until everyone is tired and is not in anymore. And then there's that last drop, and then everyone misses out. That's the purpose of that wave 4. There's a similar purpose for wave 2, but usually wave 2 is much smaller, like from time wise. Or when we talk about statistics, wave 2 is usually much not as long as wave 4. I'm just considering time. We still have plenty of targets down here, and I'm pretty sure they will be hit in October at some point. And we just hop into the weekly to give you, this is another one. This is a DAX. Weekly candles, you see the same what you just saw, what I just showed you here. That is that high from mid-August, and then that sell-off. And not even my cycle suggests here at the end of October a low, and I would prefer that area that we hit, that 61.8 and 38.2. It's like a double Fibonacci retracement between 11.324 and 11.384. And another thing, which should lead into that is that primary cycle here is week 11, then we have 12, 13, 14, 15. That's usually when the end of that primary cycle occurs. And of course it could be a shorter one, but this one here shouldn't be the bottom because it was way too early. That means somewhere in that time frame here, we should find a temporary bottom for that primary cycle. And also concerning, and that's quite interesting on the weekly basis, because we have the same for the US market, that 9 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a 9 missing. And it doesn't mean the 9 is a low. It could be also a 10 and 11 following into October to find a bottom. And usually 9, 10, or 11 is a lower low than this one here. So I'm still pretty optimistic that we have not seen the lows. Dow Jones, that expanding diagonal I was showing you, and by now I don't think it's a ending diagonal, I think it's a leading one. In other words, the only thing you need to know is that this leg is wave 3 and leg 5 has to be at least as long as wave 3, but if you have seen these things before, you know that the last leg is the longest and it likes to extend. In other words, a leading diagonal is, it looks like bottomless. It will make new lows over and over again. And typically, these things end up somewhere between the 127 and 138 of wave 3. That means for the Dow Jones, something between 26,211 all the way up to 26,854. Might be a nice target area, not in October, but maybe here somewhere in at the end of the year. And this is the S&P. Didn't want to give you that much, but for now, I'm pretty sure we're going to see that 100% mark as a minimum. And that cycle suggested at the 25th of October. And yes, I know that thing looks very aggressively. By the way, I haven't talked about that yet. These daily candles from Thursday, they were pop guns. So they are like pop gun trigger candles in the DAX, at the Dow Jones, in the NASDAQ and S&P. And it doesn't matter if you look at the cash or the future markets. They all are pop guns. And as things look like, and actually I was talking to a trading buddy of mine, most likely they're going to pop and fake out to the upside, and then they turn around and do that move to the downside. And if I'm right, and if we see new lows by next week, have a look at that duplication of that candle from Thursday. There might be a duplication of that whole candle to the downside. And NASDAQ, same thing as Dow Jones and the S&P. There's that huge expanding diagonal. The minimum target, so wave 5 equalizes wave 3, is 9,492, and I'm pretty sure we see that now in October, guys. And my target for the end is 8,432 or even 78.77. And then we are getting actually very close to these corona lows. So but it's a possibility that we end up there. After, don't get me wrong, there might be actually now a bound at the end of October, and then there is another drop, my point of view. And October will be a bit tricky, how this rally, this, listen carefully, bear market rally is going to look like. And we are going to have a look. Let me just check. Yeah, Meter was, so that's ex Facebook. So Meter is the first one which hit the target on, it was actually, was it already Wednesday? But then on Thursday it pumped right through that 100% statistical target of that head-shoulder pattern. And now we have a falling wedge, which has a bullish nature usually. And you see these target lines. I got like 3 for you. One here, another one, and another one. And they have quite optimistic targets over here. But same thing or same pattern as an expanding diagonal here. Over Facebook, it's not really an expanding, but this is also like the last wave. I'm pretty sure it will extend all the way down. There might be even targets around the $100 mark per meter. I was actually shorting that stock and I took all my profits out here on Thursday. And yeah, that's about meter. So that was a very nice hit. So the next one is Amazon on a 4-hour scale, and yeah, almost I got my target on, that was Thursday as well. I wasn't shorting Amazon, I didn't have the balls to do that, but yeah, as you can see, as precise, that target line got almost hit. I'm pretty sure next week we will fall into it. Yeah, that's about Amazon. So the next one is Apple. I haven't showed you that for quite a while. I had that ascending broader wedge down here with the 100% target, which got it quite precisely, and then we had that huge bounce. So that thing gets out of the chart. I also mentioned that rising channel which broke. That was another indicator. We had a little bearish Wilbur wave in here with a target line which got hit very nicely here as well. That was giving you that bearish Wilbur wave wedge, like, boy, I don't know, somewhere in summer when we had that crazy rally. And I put that word summer flush in here. Now it's turning out to be an autumn flush. And we almost hit that target line here in that 133 area. I'm pretty sure we will go much, much deeper at Apple. It's a possibility that we run into that green target line even in October. That's around 120, and it's declining with time. So yeah, be careful. And by the way, I was showing that descending broadening wedge, which is also, in my point of view, an expanding diagonal. It's the same thing as the S&P and in the Dow Jones and even in the NASDAQ. The difference is that all the indexes, they all broke the low from that last rally, which ended in August. Apple hasn't done that yet. The low is down here, by the way. That was that last move, and this is now the last wave, even for Apple. So it's pretty much the same pattern. And Apple hasn't broken that low yet. Once it breaks it, we can even drop much, much deeper. So keep that in mind. Apple is a heavyweight, makes almost like 12% on the NASDAQ, and I think it's almost 5 or 6% in the S&P. So have an eye on Apple. It's a leading indicator. Same as Microsoft. Microsoft broke that low out of June already by far, and it reconfirmed it with that gap down, and because that high of that candle here, it's a daily chart, by the way, and then it dropped even further. We have these two head-shoulder patterns, that big one, that small one. The small one actually almost hit the targets. I haven't calculated them, and I was showing that bearish Wilbur wave wedge for a year now, I think it is. And I kept mentioning, hey, watch that 100% target. It matches that target line perfectly, and have a look what's happening. And I can tell you one thing, I'm 99% sure Microsoft will get down there. So that's about Microsoft. Yeah, NVIDIA, it's also a daily. I was showing that chart, like, I think somewhere here where that second bounce. So it's over like 6 months old, and we dropped already 57% from the all-time high. into the June low. Now it's even more. And yeah, we hit that statistical target of that shoulder head shoulder pattern, and it's also likely that we hit that $64 mark for the 100% target later during this year. So yeah, that whole semiconductor market is about to crack even further down. Yeah, this is advanced micro devices, also daily chart, very similar to NVIDIA, just that neckline of that shoulder head shoulder pattern runs perfectly in a horizontal line. So just pattern wise, it's a very clean structure. And we also hit that statistical target, so that minimum move is done. And there's also a quite high possibility that we run into that 100% target at $34.86. So 34, or let's make it $35 to round it up, for advanced micro devices. And last but not least is PayPal on a daily chart, and I was twittering that somewhere here, somewhere in August when we made these highs. I gave you that it's a kind of unclear wedge. I had something else which I won't tell you, but as you can see, that pattern works out now. And there is a target around the 70 mark, $70 mark for PayPal. So that should be somewhere at these June lows we made at the end of June, by the way. The markets made here the lows, and PayPal did at the end of June. And yeah, we might retest these lows for PayPal before there might be another bounce. Even this looks like more corrective than an impulse, but even these corrective moves, they can lead all the way down to where they came from. So that's about it. I hope I helped you out a bit. Sorry to give you not all the information anymore, but I also had some issues last week with some guys who were just, stealing my stuff, and so I'm not willing to give that much information out anymore. I know most of you like what I say or what I tweet, and I'm still working on that channel, so there will be a paid service very soon. So yeah, the ones who like or need this information, you get there something very soon, I hope. It's just some legal stuff I need to check first. And yeah, I wish you all the best. Have a great weekend. Be careful out there with these wall swings. If you don't have the experience, just stay out and or minimize your positions, because these wall swings, they won't stop for at least, I think, until the end of the year. So all the best. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.